Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back at you again for the, I don't know, the 12th time? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm trying to keep up. These games are really fast, so it's really hard to make a video and get it posted and get on to the next video. But this is from round 8. Yes. The round 8 game from between Leinier Dominguez Perez and Wesley. So, it's an interesting one. But so for all my people that are from the Philippines, magandang umaga. It is 4:30 in the morning, so I think a couple of you guys might be up stirring. So I'll say tayo to you. Maayong buntag, magandang umaga, kamusta. Appreciate you guys very much stopping by and taking a look. For all my people that are from, from Cuba, Leinier Dominguez Perez is originally from Cuba, and they speak Spanish in Cuba. So mis amigos, ¿cómo estás? Or ¿cómo está? Buenos días. Muchas gracias para ver mi video y ver mi YouTube. Appreciate it very much. So, I appreciate you guys coming by, taking a look. So if you guys are ready, I also changed my chess legend to the great Victor Korchnoi. He was probably the strongest player to not be world champion. He played, Karpov in 1978 and 1981 for the World Championship. He lost both times narrowly. He's defeated, as it says, he defeated 9 world champions, undisputed world champions throughout his 60-something plus years, 70-something plus years playing chess. He comes from the Soviet school of chess under Mikhail Bakhtinnik. So it's produced a lot of great players that we see. Anyway, if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look and see what we have for this game. All right, so we got e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. We've seen this before. This isn't our first rodeo. So we got bishop to b5, we have knight to f6, and we have castles by white. So we have the Berlin defense. Knight takes e4, rook to e1, knight goes to d6. We have knight takes e5, bishop e7, bishop down to f1. So this is a little bit of a rarer line. As you guys are familiar with, normally you see bishop takes, pawn takes. Let me see, hold on. Before that, usually you see d4, and then after knight to d6, you see bishop takes, pawn takes, and knight to f5. And then you see the queen swap. That's going to be the most common way it's played. There's a few other ways. But like I said, we do see bishop coming back down to f1. We see knight to f5. We got c3. You kind of have a problem at the moment with these knights trying to come into this square and get real comfortable on your sofa. So we're not allowing that to happen. So we got knight takes e5, rook takes e5. We have d6. Of course, we're not taking here and seeing this. So we retreat the rook to e1. So we see castles by white, or by black. We got d4, d5, bishop to d3. We have c6, knight coming to d2, knight to d6, knight to f3, and we have bishop to f5. So we have bishop to f4, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3. So all pretty standard stuff. This has been seen many times before. It's not the most active play. So it's not sharp. It's not like a Sicilian or anything that's just kind of crazy, crazy wild. It's a pretty calm type of game. It's pretty drawing, I'll say as well. So we do see knight to e4. We got knight back to d2. We have bishop to d6. And what we actually see in the game is bishop takes d6. Then we see knight takes d6, and then we see rook to e2. So if we back up here though to d6. Bishop comes to d6. If you guys want to go ahead and stop the video. Is this not the... Okay, I'll just do it twice. This wasn't the part that I was going to stop it, but I messed that up. Whatever, yeah. If you want to go ahead and stop it real quick and see what an alternate line of play is, go ahead and do so. All right, cool. This was my original stopping point, but I changed it, and I forgot I changed it. But anyway, we'll do it twice. So what? An alternate move also is to take on e4 with the knight. Because, of course, if you take back right here, you're going to be taking with the rook. And then you've just won yourself a pawn, so we wouldn't be doing that. You'd see bishop taking f4. knight down to g3, g6, rook to e2, rook to e8, and rook a to e1. This is just an alternate way you could have played here. Both are pretty similar to each other. But like I said, we did see rook to e8 and rook a to e1. So the queen came to d7, and we see queen to g3, and this is the novelty of the game. It's interesting because this was actually a game that Leinier Dominguez Perez actually played before, and in this position he actually went h3, and it wound up kind of similar to what we see. It's just like slightly different, but you know, he did. I guess queen to g3 was what he considered an improvement or a more challenging move. So we see rook takes e2, rook takes e2. We have f3, or f6, f3, and then we see king to f7. We have knight to b3, and this is the point in the game that I wanted to come to. I will show you what was played in the game, and it is rook to e8. But if we back up, if you guys want to go ahead and stop the video and see what is a good move for black to play here, go ahead and do so. All right, cool. So for those of you that watch my videos, you guys are familiar with what I talk about when we're playing against knights, and that is restricting the movement of the pieces. And so automatically, the knight is over here on the queen side. So what that should stand out to you is that this knight looks like it's trying to get into this square. So the best move to keep that knight out of that square is actually b6. Because now you don't have any really ability to jump. And so the knight either is going to stay there and be sad, or he's going to try to reroute and do something different. So yes, b6 was a very good thought. You're usually right when you're trying to restrict a knight by moving certain pawns. So b6 would have been a definite, it would have been a good alternate route instead of rook to e8. So we would see knight to c1, rook would come to e8. We see king to f2, rook over to d7, d8, knight to d3, and then queen to f5. It was just maybe slightly stronger, not something where, you know, it's just completely winning, but it was looking pretty good. So like I said, we did see rook to e8 in the game. So we see knight coming to c5, attacking the queen. We see queen back to d8. We have queen to e1. Rook takes e2, queen takes e2. We have queen to e7. Queen takes e7, king takes e7, king to f2. We see h5, h4, g4, or g5, g4. Pawn takes g4, pawn takes g5, pawn takes f3, pawn takes f6 with check, king takes f6, and we see king takes f3. And as you guys can see, it's almost identical, the position. So we get king to e7, king to f4, king to f6, knight to d7 with check, king to e6, knight to c5 with check, king to f6, knight to d7 with check, king to e6, knight to c5, and king to f6. And we've repeated positions 3 times. So this is a 3-fold repetition, a draw by 3-fold repetition. So like I said, you pretty much have pawns all on the same side. You have 2 knights pretty much, kind of hanging out with each other, giving each other high fives. So, there's really not a whole lot of progress to be made by either side. So this game was drawn. And so Wesley, so he's hanging in there. I think he's in 8th. So he's like right where he needs to be to try to advance forward. But yeah, so that is that game. I'm going to try to catch up and get this next game done. So I appreciate you guys coming by. Muchas gracias, mis amigos. Hasta luego. And paalam to my people in the Philippines. See you next time.